So, es war wirklich eine knackig kurze Pause. Ihr könnt euren Kaffee mit wieder hier zurücknehmen, denn es geht gleich weiter. In seiner Keynote mit dem Titel The New Rules of Digital Currencies, Implementing Digital Assets in Everyday Life to Increase Choices for Everyone, möchte er über das Potenzial digitaler Währungen in den alltäglichen Zahlungsverkehr und wie dieser den Zahlungsverkehr verändert sprechen. Die enorme Dynamik und Innovation, die sich hier vollzieht, ist unbestreitbar. Wenn es um digitales Geld geht, besteht wahre Innovation nicht darin, mit dem Strom zu schwimmen. Es geht darum, neue Wege zu beschreiten und es besser zu machen als das nächste Unternehmen. Mastercard setzt sich für die Modernisierung ein und geht auf die Werte und Wünsche der Verbraucher ein. Raj Damatoran möchte aufzeigen, wie Mastercard dazu beiträgt, den aufkeimenden Raum der digitalen Währung zu gestalten, zu leiten, zu versorgen mit den Entwicklungen, die es gerade geht. Und seine Keynote wird uns, glaube ich, etwas mitgeben für unser tägliches Zahlungsverhalten. Und ich switche jetzt into English und we are broadcasting live from Frankfurt to California. Welcome. Yes, I see you. Hi, Raj. It's a great pleasure and honor to have you here.
It would have been great to be there in person, but I hear there's a lot of energy in the room. I'd love to be there in person.
Thank you.
Thank you to have you here. And I told our audience the topic you are talking about, so the stage is yours for the next 20-25 minutes, and after that maybe you have some Q&A, so have fun. Thank you, Raj.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here and virtually, and as I said, I would love to visit someday in person. What I wanted to talk a little bit about is share our vision of how we see this space. There is a lot of innovation happening in this space, as you all know, and I'm sure you've discussed at length. There is always this discussion between decentralized finance and traditional finance, or shall we say, CeFi. Although I believe it is not one versus the other, right? There are significant innovations happening in the crypto space, and there is great scale available in the traditional finance world. We actually believe that we can take the best of both worlds for the benefit of everyone in the industry. And this future, I do believe that it will be a multi-chain world with a mix of public and private networks, recording and moving tokens and currencies for a variety of use cases. And I'd love to share a little bit about how we think about the space, and I'd love a good dialogue in the end as well. Before we jump in, and people know a lot of this already, but a couple of key highlights in how we see the trends, and you've seen the value of the currency move from just a few $100 billion just not too long ago to over $2 trillion today, and it is continuing. And the number of digital wallets that are out there is significantly higher as well. And I'm not talking about just blockchain addresses. I'm talking about digital wallets in general now, which we are also using to hold crypto in a variety of forms. You've seen many of the mainstream digital wallet providers offer crypto as well. At Mastercard, we've done a bit of research ourselves, and our new payment index shows that the number of people who are willing to use crypto as a method or a payment method, or trying a new payment method, is significantly higher. 40% of the people would love to use one form of crypto or not as a payment method in the near future. And the millennials are especially energetic about this. All of that is not a surprise, but this is not just about private sector and consumers. Central banks, as you know, are exploring, including in the European zone. There is not a week goes by I see a new paper, and I'm sure many of you read this, in terms of an approach taken by a central bank or a research paper or a pilot. We ourselves are working with a number of these central banks on this as well. But as much of this is happening in this space, this is still in infancy. there are a lot of technologies that are evolving at the moment on layer 2 DeFi protocols and so forth. For this industry to truly really scale, I think we need to make crypto safer and easier for everyone to use, and we think we can help in that process. As we are looking at combining forces to make digital assets and crypto accessible for everyone, we think that we can combine the incredible innovation that is happening on the crypto space and the DeFi space and make it accessible through better consumer experience, better interoperability, and providing a safe and secure way to transact using many of these. And consumer protections are a key building block. In the end, I believe this would be a multi-chain world with a mix of private and public networks that, like I talk about. You would see interoperable assets moving from one network to the other. And at the end of the day, it'll be all about how easily businesses and consumers can move value across these places. I believe, and we believe at MasterCard, it creates opportunities for everyone in the industry. And we believe in bringing tech-driven solutions to this space. We hope to do that using kind of 4 key concepts, and I want to kind of talk through each one of them in a little bit more detail so that we can see what are we talking about in terms of products and solutions that can help in this space. The first one is really providing access to the crypto world through our network. I'll come to that in a bit in terms of how we do that. Second, we have a range of services that can help both crypto companies and governments and traditional finance companies to really bring safety and security. Third, enabling settlement in our core network. We are innovating in that space. I'd love to share a little bit about that. And finally, how we are approaching central bank digital currencies. So let me start with the first approach, which is providing access to crypto through a MasterCard network. Here, there are billions of cards in the street. I'll start with, how I'll take a view of a wallet and see how money flows in and out and how we can help. There are billions of cards in the MasterCard around the world, and consumers want to be able to purchase assets, especially for investing purposes, through these cards. We enable this, and this goes through our network, and with all the protections it has to offer, you could use any of these cards to buy crypto. We've seen those volumes continue to climb as interest in crypto increases. The second is also providing connectivity through open banking. We have open banking infrastructure in many parts of the world, which allows consumers to validate and connect their bank account to that as well. Once the money comes into the wallet and you're investing in crypto or stable coins or the range of services that are available, many of them, and I think the team here knows, many of them use this as really as an investment asset. But some of them like the access to the currency in everyday payments as well. So our crypto card program, which has been in existence for a number of years, provides simple access to this crypto so that you could go spend it anywhere that MasterCard is accepted. I think it's important to note here that we're not carrying crypto in our network, where the issuer of the card converts the crypto into fiat and puts MasterCard clears and settles like we do normally. Nevertheless, it provides an important access and utility for the consumer with the full set of protections available in our network. That includes consumer protections, ability to reverse the transaction if you don't believe that it is conducted by you. If you look at from the merchant perspective, they're getting access to all of the spend power from the consumer, all of the trillions of assets that we talked about a few minutes ago. Merchants are getting access to that spend power without going through a further integration or a new way of accepting payment that they need to go through. And from a consumer experience perspective, this is a simple tap or you enter your card credentials online. The existing consumer experience that they're trained in works really, really well. And a number of card programs that we have, several dozen programs around the world. We have both credit cards and debit cards in this mechanism, and this is continuing to expand. Finally, if a consumer wants to liquidate their crypto and send it back to a bank account, MasterCard Send connects that account to many of the bank accounts around the world through our MasterCard Send product. That's a simple way to withdraw as well. End of the day, this is about allowing flows to happen in and out of wallet in a safe and secure way. That's what this is about. The next thing I would like to talk about is services. This is incredibly important. You know, there are three categories that I'd like to kind of spend a bit of time on. The first one is identity. Identity is incredibly important to this space because when crypto wallets are set up, and the first thing that people go through is identity verification. It is important to increase trust in the ecosystem, and we have a number of assets to offer both for verification and identity service. We recently bought Ikata, which is an identity verification service with thousands of customers around the world. And many of the top crypto wallet providers use this to verify consumer identity here. We have a MasterCard identity product that have a digital identity network that allows both identity providers and identity verifiers to communicate with sharing clear set of attributes of consumers in a safe and secure way. And our open banking capabilities, again, provides an additional level of protection for people to be able to prove that they can log in and verify the source of funds through which they may transfer money in. Once your identity is verified, the ongoing fraud and analytics becomes a very important part of this as well, both for traditional financial institutions to better understand where consumers are spending the money, or which merchants or which wallet providers they're spending the money at, as well as for wallet providers to understand the analytics behind the public blockchain networks. Our CipherTrace, which is a question that completed 2 weeks ago, provides this analytics services that are used by, again, the number of players in the crypto ecosystem. What we hope to do this is to provide this service to our traditional financial institutions as well, to be able to fully take advantage of the fraud and analytics capabilities. Finally, I'd like to talk a little bit about the crypto service. It's similar to kind of the stock trading that came out, maybe 10, 15 years ago, where some of the traditional financial institutions offered it, and now it is a standard part of everyone's service. Similar to that, now traditional finance is trying to get into offering buy, sell, hold services as well. If you were to put enabling that requires a range of things to be put in place, right? You need a exchange capability, you need a custody capability, you need a card processing capability, and finally, you would need a good card proposition so that consumers can get access to it, whether they are doing it as a rewards product or a simple access to the utility. So we've been working with partners around the world to bring this together in a package so that anyone could launch a crypto service. The recent partnership that we announced with Buck is one example of that. There's more to come there as well. The other important part of this is as well rewards. Many of the credit card programs, the more popular rewards program now is to be able to offer crypto as rewards. And again, we are happy to offer that as a service to be able to honor consumer recent interest and choice. So that's just a range of services that we've put together to help the crypto community as well as the traditional finance. And if I were to shift gears a bit and go into the actual native flows of the crypto itself, earlier this year we said we are adding select cryptocurrencies to our network. What does it mean? It actually means that the central bank digital currencies, when it comes to the market, are a select stable coins, if they are legal to operate in a given jurisdiction, could be available as a settlement currency or a transaction currency in our network. We've launched a pilot on the issuer side and on the card issuer side of this. Partnerships that involve Paxos, Circle, Evolve, and Uphold in United States. That pilot has been going incredibly well. They're really seeing value in staying crypto native. Many of the wallet providers are interested in settling their end-of-day settlement flows with MasterCard using one of these supported currencies, and we're happy to provide that through our partners. We're seeing the demand is continuing to rise, and we're happy to make that product generally available to all the crypto wallet issuers in our network. Over time, we would see that some of these currencies natively added to our network, which really means that we'll be able to bring the full power of our end-to-end network to this crypto currencies as well, both for central bank digital currencies and select cryptocurrencies that may be eligible based on criteria that we set up. What this really means, I know this is a crypto native crowd here, and we really believe that positions our kind of network that we have today as a true layer 2 network that allows people to scale the underlying network through which the currencies may be available. It also offers the full protection of our network in terms of end-to-end settlement, as well as consumer protections that allow them to take advantage of features like zero liability and fraud and chargeback protections. We are very excited about this. Finally, I'd love to talk a little bit about central bank digital currencies. As we were talking about before, many of the central banks around the world are exploring central bank digital currencies, and it's really important to make sure that we do this in a way that meets the broad objective of reaching scale through these currencies. Whatever the mechanism a central bank chooses, all of them are looking for reaching either the institutions, if it is a wholesale central bank currency, or retail. They're looking to reach the consumers and businesses. We believe we can help in a couple of ways. One is we have a virtual test platform that we launched last year, which is used by a number of governments around the world to design and fine-tune central bank digital currencies. I think arriving at the right design that helps them get to scale, I think is very, 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 very important. And the second, it is important that these central bank digital currencies work in the context today. There are networks on today that are connected to consumers and businesses. These currencies need to be accessible in everyday world with a simple consumer experience and protection. One good example of this is the sand dollar in Bahamas, and when they wanted to scale and make that currency available to everyday usage for consumers and businesses, they launched a MasterCard card that allows them the access to it. That level of simple interoperability, we believe, is critical for this to happen. We recently participated in Monetary Authority of Singapore hackathon related to central bank digital currencies. Again, our sandbox and test platform allowed people to experiment and design the right set of currencies. So if I were to summarize, I really believe that as crypto goes mainstream, it is really about offering the standard set of protections and simple consumer experience. And I think if we were to solve that by working together with the assets and services that we have, both on the traditional finance side as well as what MasterCard has to offer, and the innovation that's happening in the crypto world, I think we can definitely help crypto world scale, as well as do it in a very very responsible way that puts consumer at the center, honors their choice, and delivers value end-to-end to the end-to-end ecosystem. With that, thanks for having me here, and happy to take some questions or any comments that people have on this topic.
So yes, thank you
Raj.
first of all, Raj, for joining us here on a virtual way, of course, but we are very happy to have you here. So, as you mentioned, maybe we have some questions from the audience. So, this is the time, ladies and gentlemen, to ask something. So, do you have questions or comments? So, if not, we have something. No questions. So, first of all, I saw on your slides some sentence, and the question is, do you believe that crypto, for example, Bitcoin, will ever used really for payments? I mean, is it not more a little bit more like investing in Bitcoins? So, do you think cryptocurrency will be used for payments?
I think people know that most of the people invest in Bitcoin today as an investment asset. I expect that to remain so for foreseeable future. And there are a lot of innovations happening in other type of currencies. I don't want to get into a personal debate on which currency is better, but I do believe it's largely used for investments, and it will continue to remain so for quite some time. Really, for any of these currencies, any of instruments to go mainstream, as I talked about before, you need a simple consumer experience. You need stability in value so that people paying and getting paid can have the right expectations in terms of what they're getting paid, and finally to have the right set of protections, which is needed for everyday usage. Because people do make errors and they want to reverse payments, and they need to be able to go through and fix all of that, right? So all of that makes to a simple everyday consumer experience and a commerce experience, which is what's critical for any of these instruments to scale, not just Bitcoin.
Okay.
So, when I understand your thesis right, that cryptocurrency will reach the mainstream very soon, and MasterCard will do a lot to do that, and cryptocurrency is a payment choice for our everyday life. But did you think that most of the people in, not Europe and the whole world, understand the technology which we use for cryptocurrency, blockchain, etc.? And in other words, is it an educational question?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very important question that you're touching there. I think if we are talking about mainstream usage of any of these technologies, people shouldn't have to think about what crypto is, shouldn't have to think about what blockchain is, shouldn't have to know what smart contract is, shouldn't have to know about what custody means. They simply looking for access to an account that they have, it has value, and be able to support their any of their everyday use cases. It's all about consumer experience, I feel. That's why we think a simple tap and go consumer experience is great. And that's why our crypto cards are popular, because you can access whatever your balances that you have with a simple tap and go, with the right set of all the protections that it has to offer. So that's what is needed. If we have to explain all the technology behind it before somebody would use it, I think we've collectively, as an industry, lost the plot, right? So I would put consumer experience first.
Okay, so I have to take a look at the time. I want to thank you again for joining us here in Germany, and yeah.
Yeah, also from my side, thank you, Raj. Greetings to California. It was a really pleasure and honor to have you here on our first crypto conference here. I think you are a main voice in this crypto space, so it was a pleasure to have you here.
Last question.
So we have a question.
Sorry, we have a question from the audience.
Hi guys, I'm Alexei.
Hi Alexei.
Just a little question on your service portfolio. So you write that you provide identity services connected to that. How do you have those identities, as you are a scheme, and the most identities and KYCs are running usually with the issuers?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So it is a service available for anyone to use. So an issuer could use this service. We are not providing a direct-to-consumer service. This is a service available for either a wallet provider or a traditional financial institution to be able to use it to build their own identity verification service. So Ikata is being used by a number of players today. We stay behind the scenes. It's a service provider that allows them to put together based on their risk profile and the service that you offer to the end consumer and the regulations in a given market. You're able to offer use this service to verify the identity before a wallet provider completes the identity verification.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, last chance to ask something. Okay, so the last time, thank you again. Stay healthy and hope we see you sometimes in real person.
One day here in Germany.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Have a wonderful rest of the conference.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.